and go ahead and start my timer. And here we are. So last stream, we started off as Samara. This, not small, at least, maybe compared to the others, kind of small. Relatively, small rump state in Russia. It's trying to figure out its way in the world. And, thus far, we're siding with the, Despotist path. The, army with Bunyachenko. So kind of have that figured out for the future. Doing great, sir. Not done much today. Neither have I. I haven't really done jack diddly squat today either. I'm supposed to meet up with 2 friends because we couldn't meet up earlier. But, you know, Christmas and all that. So we'll see how that ends up going. Anyway. We got a little event here. Which, I unpaused for a little bit, and I saw this event pause right as I ended up, wrapping up yesterday. So, let's go ahead and read it. Any successful army requires a great deal of officers. Only the recent years in Samara have seen our junior officers grow not so junior. The men that fought in the West-Russian War, the former Red Army POWs, opportunist whites, and fascist emigres have now spent most of a decade with us holed up in Samara. Years of promotion, attrition, and desertion have unbalanced our officer pool, especially at the junior level. Our army is now dangerously top-heavy and needs new blood to fill out its command structure. Fortunately, local recruits form a satisfactory pool of potential officers. The only issue is that the years of sitting around have begun polarizing the soldiers into 3 different groups. Some of the more idealistic recruits follow Zykob's faction and argue... Damn it, the Snapchat distracted me. And argue that the RA should live up to the promises of liberation and democracy. In contrast, a group of black market smugglers and hardline fascists have coalesced around General Okhtan's promise of a strong Russia where the soldiers are fully respected. In between these 2 hands, the Officers Committee tries to maintain the status quo by recruiting dutiful and apolitical men who share General Bunyachenko's apathy and desire to see the junta structure endure until the situation has changed. The composition of officers we choose will help determine the direction the ROA takes. It would be wise to be prudent in our selection of the ROA's next generation. Oh. Yeesh, that's a really nasty hit. Goddamn. Is this next to the Viking faction in TNO, or where are we? We are in Western Russia. Viking faction. You might be talking about Kemerovo? Maybe? I don't know. Kamchatka is kind of raidy. You might be thinking of them too. I don't know. I know that it is time to go ahead and get working on rebuilding Samara. Even though we were considered as significant assets by our benefactors to the west, we are not spared of the terror bombing campaigns that Luftwaffe conducted indiscriminately for years. Our cities, our factories, and our home were destroyed by the bombing runs, being rebuilt only to be hit again. The people of Samara suffered for years, with no end to the bombing in the horizon. However, there is hope. The Reich has fallen into chaos and disarray, and the Luftwaffe has more urgent business to do than target practice on Russian villages. Now is the time to rebuild the city, in all our territories as well. Houses, factories, and infrastructure, like roads, will be repaired or built to serve the people of Samara. Hopefully, this will show them how much the KONR cares for them and what they do for them. Popular support is, after all, a key to keeping control. Not a bad place to start, so we'll get working on that. Tiger of East roars once more. Very nice. Bulgaria sides with Germany. We'll do infantry expert. That'll be very good. Get some attack. Get some more attack along with defense. Almost no brainer. And then Bunyachenko. Probably give him something. Aggressive assaulter, offensive doctrine. Already a pretty decent field marshal. Let's do charismatic. And I'm thinking we might want to get working on the new generation of guns while we can. Our research speed is still horrible, my god. But we're working on it the best we can. So let me check for new decisions. Okay, the ROA is lacking in officers. We must ensure that adequate leadership is available. This might be a good opportunity to ensure that the chosen heir has the support and loyalty of Officer Corps. There's currently a severe shortage of officers, and the ROA is currently disloyal to us. So we'll probably do higher pay. Hey, Galifax, how are you doing, my friend? I was thinking of Urukju and Sakima River. Alright, good to know. Yeah, they're in a different area of Siberia than us. So moving on, we'll go ahead and do the committee plan. In the most recent years, Samara's been caught, quite honestly, lacking. Our industry is not quite what it once was, and our people are unemployed or working unproductively all across the board. It is simply impossible for us to keep our nation alive without creating a Samara more industrially efficient and capable of projecting our power across Russia. To rid our country of those too stupid to rule themselves and bring them from the fractured mess, a united state, we must rid ourselves of our reliance on Germany to fashion a state from which we can enrich Russia and, in doing, ourselves. Those who can work will go to the factories, mines, and construction teams. Those who are strong of mind and body will join the ROA. Together we will bring together Russia once again from the horde of squabbling warlords who have squandered the dream, and return Russia to its former place in the Eastern Sun. That works for me. This mod always seems so confusing to me. I did see the Spain got a focus tree in the Great War mod. Ooh. I haven't played the Great War mod that much, actually. There we go. Ooh, another factory. Very nice. We'll get working on a few extra guns, I guess. I can't think of what else we could do. So we'll get working on getting ourselves out of the political power hole that we are in. Oh shit, we'll have to scavenge for loot. Neutral state of Vologda, declared war in the free city of Kostroma. Yeah. That's normal. I'm not surprised about that. They're still under the Luftwaffe raids, which is interesting. Field Marshal's eyes only. Great War mod. The only thing I dislike about the style of warfare is much different than the normal game. Yeah, I like the normal pace of a HoI 4 combat is fine enough for me. I don't know how I do with it being up-handed. I'm already not good at normal HoI 4 anyway. So, you know. Abstract. The Committee for the Revitalization of Controlled Territories has found that while economically it can be of much use, the destruction and lack of economic planning has made the use of such resources unavailable for our use. Thus, some elements of economic planning are proposed to jumpstart the economy for the purpose of beginning the long-awaited reunification of Russia. Report summary. It has been found that a significant amount of factories have been destroyed from either raids from opposing warlords or due to German terror bombings. What few remain suffer from a lack of manpower. Similar outcomes occur in construction and extraction industries. In spite of this, the unemployment rate is high, especially in urban areas. This has caused suffering among families who rely on charity to get by. For full analysis, see pages 20 through 54 of this report. Recommendations: to use government power to enforce an end to unemployment through a combination of government assistance, relocation of the unemployed towards areas of industries where needed most, and when no other options available, conscription into the armed forces. While this would expand government power into the economy, thus unseen, it would make it A, more viable and attractive to do business, and B, increase productivity of the average citizen through additional wages. For full in-depth recommendations, reports, see pages 56 through 121. Teach a man to fish slower because it's World War One, not World War Two. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think creating civilian industry is a place to start right about now. No state can call itself a country without functioning civilian industry. The single most important building that will distinguish us from a tribe to our east will be the standard of our civilization. We shall build from the ashes a strong civilian industry, one capable of fueling a war machine itself, capable of returning Russia to a strong, free nation. Under the command of our efficient network of bureaucrats, war crews from all over Samara shall labor to create a civilian industry that will rival that of any uncivilized warlord state, one that will allow us to realize our Russian ambitions. There we go. Civilian building slots in civvy factories. Very nice, right about now. I think I checked right before. And yeah, hold on. Let me go back to that. Yeah, we are building fucking nothing right now. So that is really, really rough. So we could use all the help we can get right about now. Factory-wise. Gorky, huh? Well, hold on. I'll give them a little bit to regain their org. Yada yada. Okay, that should be good. Will not back down so easily. Guys? You, maybe we should have backed down that easily. God damn it. Yeah. Fuck. And our garrison's been slaughtered. Fuck. Okay, let's get Fyodor back in. That is really not nice, I gotta say. I dare say that kind of sucks. Alright. We cannot have a truly efficient country, greased to the bones, unless we cut costs, reduce unnecessary spending, and liquidate all ineffective positions. Some will consider this counterintuitive in our goal of increasing efficiency, but the true goal here isn't one thing: creating a system that needs as little as possible to run, a system truly built on the principles of self-reliance and efficiency. With less spent on unnecessary bureaucratic expenditures, we can focus on new projects, from roads to industry to radar defenses. We have seen the result of a strong bureaucracy, that is, a nation that slowly strangles itself from the inside. Money does not come out of nowhere. To fund our military and our new, very ambitious plans, we'll have to break down the state apparatus to only what is absolutely necessary. The money demands we do. And then from there we'll get structure. The men stood by the sill calmly and waited their turn to jump. Can you move the bar to over the chat? Which bar? I'm gonna assume you mean this. That might be better, actually. Oh, the graphics card. Yeah, there we go. How's that? Is that better? Not quite over the chat, but it's moved. Within Samara, there exists a lack of infrastructure, a debilitating issue that plagues our every goal. Goods from one part of a nation arrive too slowly. Reinforcements arrive days after scrimmages begin, finding nothing when they arrive. In the spring months, movement stalls to nearly a halt as the mud fills roads, rendering all but the most major roads impassable. Do you wish a strong Samara, one capable of creating a strong Russia? Then this all must change. We will embark on an ambitious road-building campaign. Using soldiers, unemployed civilians, and construction companies, we shall pave over many of the nation's roads. As we pave these roads, we shall also pave our way to a new age, an age in which Russia can finally regain its rightful place in the sun. Beautiful. Alright, I guess we'll scavenge for loot and hope we don't get raided this time. Matai assumes control of the Gulf. And we're going to need to save up some more political power coming up. Is there anything that just gives us political power? Whereas this what gives us a political power bonus. What about this? Fuck, this is a better industrial plan. Well, it's a pretty damn good industrial plan, at least. Fuck. What about this? That's not too bad. The rest is mostly temporary, so it's not the worst. But Zakov's plan is better. But it goes against what we want to do, so. In Samara, there's a great many things we lack, many of which we have since learned to live without. However, there are a great deal of these things that we simply can no longer afford to live without. As shipments from Germany become rarer and rarer, and their support goes from less than genuine to barely even lip service, not to mention the terrible instability in Germany, we must begin to produce our own military equipment. Incentives will be set up to encourage industrial companies across our small but strong state to open up new locations and produce more armaments. We will provide them funding, laborers, areas to open new factories, and lucrative deals that will encourage them to produce for us. In addition, we will ensure that no one company gains a monopoly by encouraging strong but healthy competition between these forces. By staying true to our beliefs in a free but government-sponsored and efficient industry, we will prove to Russia our system's superiority. Let's try a raid against Bashkurastan. Last time that worked out pretty well. Oh, you can fuck off, Gorky. Can we get... Come on, give it to me, baby. Tribute paid. Industrial expertise. What's going down here? Industrial expertise. So I think we'll go ahead and improve that. And you know what? You can fucking try, buddy. You're not taking it. You're not taking shit from me. We got some new PP. We'll go ahead and do some, give some higher pay to the officers. We'll readjust these guys' positioning. Put this guy so he's right next to him. A military-industrial complex. Next, let's do some motorized contracts. While our army stands strong and march to victory, that is part of the problem. Much of our army remains non-motorized, or only motorized on paper, while having many to slowly march to get into action. In the modern age of lightning warfare, leg infantry has been made obsolete, and we must understand such. If we wish to see our flag fly from the capital of a free Russia, the first step is modernizing our army. We shall contract out to various Samaran automobile factories orders hundreds of trucks and jeeps to equip our many infantry divisions for the fight that is surely to come soon. By contracting into multiple factories, we can hope that they will compete to create more efficient vehicles. And the one that shows it can produce motorized equipment at the highest capacity and quality will receive the most funding from the Samaran government. Our goal is nothing less than the reunification of Russia and a strong all-Russian army. Let us drive into the horizon where a bright future awaits. Might want to demote disloyal officers, and then probably do a recruitment campaign after. Maybe I might want to go and do a smuggling operations a bit, see if we can't get the morale up, or change that around a bit. See what's up with that. They'll increase corruption. It's at a negligible amount right now, though. So how much really is a large amount? Someone... You're actually... It's alright, McKed. You're good. Kid elected Prime Minister of Japan. Mr. Status Quo. God, our political power game is weak right now. Let's do some radar defense. Despite the halt in German bombings, allowing us to finally come into our own as a potential custodian of the Russian future, we worry that while the people of Samara no longer await the wee hours of morning, the death whistle of German munitions, the new situation may at best be tentative. Instead, we must prepare for the worst while hoping for the best of all the Russian people. Using slightly antiquated radar technology bought from a German base in the Arcane Moscovian and then duplicated in Samara, we will set up radar stations across our borders at key military installations to keep a careful watch over our people and their safety. We cannot allow ourselves to be caught off guard in this age where warfare is driven by what is in the air as much as our legions on the ground. Makes sense to me. Okay, I'll save real quick to just we'll expand this. Okay, so we can go ahead and improve the morale for these guys. Corruption is still negligible, so I'm not too worried about that. Though, of course, you know, that's always going to be tentative, depending on what we end up doing. Do all the Russians and African nations have full trees now? Not all, no. They added stuff to these guys, another path for these guys. Duceciano's one, that means democracy. Like these guys at the top don't have a tree. Huta gets a tree when he unifies everything. He no longer has that yee-ass haircut, but he looks... The years and the meth have not been kind to him. That's all I'm going to say about him. Let's go ahead and make a greater Samara. After no small effort, both by the people of Samara and their ever-present benevolent guides, the city of Samara has now been completely rebuilt and reindustrialized. Now it has reached a record level of industrial production. Droves of Russians, from disgraced wretches and invalids to able-bodied teenagers, are employed in our newly constructed arms factories. Churning out dozens of firearms and bullets a day, these factories have not only begun to lower unemployment, but have also allowed our city to better supply the Army's ever-increasing demand for weapons. Hurrah for the committee. Hurrah for the Russian Liberation Army. Beautiful. We could scavenge for loot. I'm going to hold off on that, actually. Because as long as Gorky's around, they're going to just keep raiding the shit out of us, and we won't be able to do that much. We got a bonus to construction. We got to figure out what we want to spend it on. Or industry in general. I think we'll do civilian construction. I think that's a good place to start to get our basic base going up. We'll increase civilian morale, I'm thinking. Johnny comes marching home. I saw. Exactly. Making a greater Samara. Luxury goods for civilians. The morale is still low, but we're working on it. Abstract. The post-industrial atmosphere of Samara and other controlled territories by the Committee's Economic Revitalization Plan has seen a significant positive increase. Playing as traders, don't we? By the way, hello, how you doing, my Ukrainian friend? We are playing as the traders. You're right. We're trying to see if we can prove ourselves to be better than, our German masters. Former German masters, I should say. Let's see. Economic and industrial resources are now towards peak economic performance due to the increase in both employment and rebuilding of previously destroyed equipment. While the institution of minimal government planning, specifically of enforcing employment of citizens through incentives and punishments, economic output has increased many times over. Poverty has decreased. Unemployment is nearly non-existent. For the first time in years, new factories are being created throughout the country. The employment program has ever been so successful that juveniles, 13 through 17 being the majority, make up a significant portion of the workforce, although by no means a majority. While far from done, the program has made much progress in revitalizing the economy, which has benefited military production and domestic firearms, making unification a more likely outcome. See pages 18 through 30 for the full report. Aside from continuing the program, it is recommended that the additional resources be made available to increase business opportunities. With additional economic incentives, the committee believes that the economy would expand greatly, simultaneously decreasing poverty and also increasing our military objectives. A better world is possible then. I'm alright, thanks for asking. And now we address politics. Finally, the economy of Samara has improved and stabilized to an acceptable point. However, while the problem might soon be solved, there is another issue to be settled. Theoretically, the sole governing body of our country is the KONR, a unified committee dedicated to ruling Russia. However, the reality is far from there. Numerous factions compete for control within the committee, each with their own ideas and goals for Samara. Now it is time to bring an end to this. We must end the division and fractures within the committee and either manage to cooperate with other factions or eliminate them from positions of power. Sounds good to me. Yeah, so far, not bad. I'm trying to remember where Smolensk is. I think it's somewhere in this area. I mean, it doesn't matter too much ultimately, it's just kind of interesting to me. Okay, CSR versus those guys. Let's see. We'll see what if Kemerovo can pull anything off here. Now we address politics. The committee prevails. Amid a significant amount of political turmoil among Samara's elite, the committee of officers responsible for making all of our stateless important decisions have decided a successor, even with Zykov's advocating his idealistic democracy. In General Oktan promoting the worst kind of corruption, the committee has thankfully chosen the rational path and nominated Sergei Bunyachenko as new head of the ROA. General Bunyachenko is a competent and disciplined, perfect for the continuation of the ROA's mission. His first task, to restore stability to our fractured political situation, remind the various officers who's really in charge, and begin shaping the ROA into a force capable of governing. Yeah, that works. Oh, something wrong. I hold my head. Hitler's gone. The Führer is dead. Alright, we'll do luxury goods for the officers. Get their morale up and running while we can. Improved infantry rifles, the new generation of guns. Do you want to do some, let's do some infantry weapon improvements first. Is that Burgundian system support I see? Yep, German Civil War. It is thus necessary that the individual should finally come to realize that his own ego is of no importance in comparison with the existence of a nation. Adolf Hitler. And so it begins. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening there. You might have named Bormann his successor, I forget. Republic of Brittany declares war on the French state. Chaos in Ostland. Still wondering what was the reaction of Meyer Landrut to the mod, and he's the most liberal German in the mod. I don't know. I don't know if he even knows what this is, which I hope no one tries to go and tell him, because that would just be weird and kind of awkward. For a long time, life in a very large portion of Russia had been defined by the German terror bombing campaigns. An entire generation of Russians had grown up in blasted ruins, always watching the skies and ready to run cover the moment the dark figures of bombers themselves are spotted. An entire generation of government, whatever the ideology, has struggled with establishing infrastructure or an industrial base of any kind, and what little is built is often promptly destroyed. But not anymore. Millions of Russians have not had to make desperate runs for safety for days. Repairs to civilian and military infrastructure have progressed and not been destroyed in return. New constructions still stand, and a realization has dawned. The bombers have stopped. Those with access to new information from outside believe that the civil chaos now engulfing the hated Reich and its colonial extensions, the Reichskommissariat, has rendered it impossible for aerial efforts to continue. To those without, it is believed by many to be a gift from God. Even as ordinary Russians celebrate with something approaching delirium, however, others speak of dark clouds on the horizon. The many German statelets, no longer suffering paralysis at the bombs of the Germans, are now free to look outwards. Only time will tell how they choose to proceed. Clear skies, but dark clouds. Cash is disappearing. Oh! Moscovian is collapsing, boys. Sergei Bunyachenko paced back and forth within his office. His promotion to deputy chairman of the committee came at no great surprise. He had been pegged as Vlasov's most likely successor long ago. His fellow ROA officers had been lobbying on his behalf for years, and now that he ascended to the new position, he would take full advantage of his new powers. The ROA was in dire need of restructuring. Mikhail Loktanin's clique were a threat to Bunyachenko's new position and to the committee as a whole. The man would need to be demoted. As much as Sergei would rather kill the bastard, he was simply too influential at the moment. If he did not take care, then he could easily find himself dead in the night, with Loktan all too willing to take power. There's another thorn in his side as well. Mileti Zhikov was something of a decent man, though a little spineless for his taste. It could only be beneficial to bring him forward towards Sergei's way of thinking. With Zhikov's support, he would have an in with the people. The people of Samara and of all of Russia itself would need convincing that the RA was capable of creating a strong Russia, free of the problems that plague Tsars and communist threats. Zhikov was just the man for the job. He was a master of propaganda and could surely curtail any thoughts of revolt among the masses. His pacing came to an end and took his seat at his desk. With the resolve rarely seen in Russian anarchy, he began to write out orders that would go across KONR territory. The people needed work, the ROA needed guns, and the chairman needed to know that he would be up to the task of forging a Russia that would have the strength to overcome its enemies and rise to the level of great powers. All will work for the strength of Russia. Ooh, I think this will be a good one to go down. Let's go ahead and celebrate Vlasov. The great General Vlasov. What an underappreciated man. He defected from the criminal Red Army and brilliantly played the Reich in order to gain the leverage to liberate Samara from the Bolshevik scourge. Now he benevolently leads the ROA, preparing to one day liberate Russia from communism once and for all. Unfortunately, the vast majority of Samara's population does not quite see the situation this way. Most believe him to be a Russian toady and a traitor of a nation. If we are to gain any sort of legitimacy, we need to combat the false narratives about our leader and founder. With the help of Zhikov and his propagandists, we can tell the Russian people that Vlasov is a hero worthy respect. In time, they might even believe us. I'd be very surprised. Like, who can predict that you will be blessed at some dark mod in HoI 4? I don't know. I mean, you can usually make a pretty good guess who's, not gonna be. So he's not going to turn out very well. Like Hans Huttig, it's pretty clear that he was never going to be a good guy in this mod. Heydrich, Himmler. Though Heydrich is a bit different, I guess. There's Gorby. Serbs rise up. There goes Novosibirsk. There goes Ostland. Where the fuck are the Yankees? Yeah, oh god. Oh my god, yeah, this shit is going crazy. Red Star Army. Jesus. See, do we have the Antichrist? We have the Antichrist. Oh god. Democracy in Norway. After Shield intervenes in South Africa. Okay, there's the Antichrist. Is there any chance of is that 1,000-week Reich? If so, then probably, yeah. I've been meaning to play it eventually, I just haven't yet. Moscovian has collapsed, decreasing smuggling efficiency. I don't know, I've been meaning to play it eventually, I just haven't had the time, or really the path on what to do. Is the war? Is the English Civil War over already? Jolly-o, done by Christmas, lads! Man. The Officers Committee that runs Samara is a democratic institution of ROE generals committed to managing the liberation of Russia. However, in any organization, certain figures are likely to become disproportionately prominent. General Vlasov, of course, is our most respected leader, owing to his heroism in fighting the Soviets. However, General Bunyachenko has himself rapidly risen in importance following his election to the committee. To the uneducated masses, this might appear to be evident that Samara is a military dictatorship where power is consolidated in the hands of one man. This is naturally a misconception, but one that needs to be corrected. To increase trust in our government, Bunyachenko is merely the first among equals, obeyed out of admiration rather than fear. At least, not yet. Okay, let's head to electronic engineering. Get another research tech out of the way. Bunyachenko hated to deal with the pesky reality of reputation, or as Zhukov described it, public relations, which somehow made Bunyachenko squirm a little bit. If only because it sounded so American. But even if he hated it, he still had to deal with it one way or another. And who was better to clean up Marshal Vlasov's image as a German bootlicker than Zhukov, the chief PR man himself? It was a test run at first, to see how far they could get with a little bit of glorification. Posters of Vlasov shown side by side with his men, inspecting them and generally being an attractive leader of the people. Then it expanded to constant radio bombardment of the real history of Vlasov's supposed betrayal, which was, according to those announcements, in reality a last-ditch effort to protect the Russian people. When that was done, the minor financiation of a couple of cheap plays depicting the Great Patriotic War, Vlasov as a tragic hero of the war that broke Russia into 1,000 places. Then, as the people began to think that perhaps just maybe they had been wrong, it was time to bring out the tears, show the faces of the men whose families were in concentration camps, their broken, shattered faces being reminded of a horrible fate that awaited them at the death camps. Then make them stare at the camera, or in the most effective cases, have them say with no hint of sarcasm or dislike, Vlasov was only trying to do what was best for me, my family. It was a good show, Bunyachenko admitted, especially considering how Zhukov found an actor that could emote so well. A little saccharine, but Zhukov knew how to play a crowd. Maybe by the end of the year, Vlasov would be as well loved as he was hated by the year before. If you don't tell a story, someone else will. Some more war support? Beautiful. Despotism support? Even better. Maybe not even better, but not bad. We might want to do a higher pay for officers coming up. Who the hell of a red star? Just liberators or bayonets with the red flag? Maybe a bit of both. If I had to guess, a bit of both. Let's see. We don't have a description for them. We could train up a division if we wanted to, which is tempting. We'll drop them off there. We'll need rubber and tungsten. Jolly-o, mates. It's so nice not to see Margaret Thatcher is gonna be elected, you know? No more of that nonsense. We'll do higher pay for officers coming up. Military morale is average. Oh, that's nice. We're boosting that up. And we'll do higher pay for officers. They're ambivalent to us now. We still have a severe shortage of officers, but they are ambivalent to us. Which I'll take. Recovery rate. There we go, yeah. Okay, first among equals. Moving on, let's work with Zhukov. Although we all accept the leadership of General Vlasov, the ROA has substantial interest internal factions, each with their own ideas on how best to run Samara. General Bunyachenko, for instance, is a fairly standard advocate of a single-party right-wing state. Zhukov, on the other hand, has far more peculiar opinions. Zhukov is an unabashed liberal who campaigns relentlessly for greater democratization. The fact that he has had to collaborate with Third Reich to do so does not seem to faze him. Although we see eye to eye on very few issues, our faction and his do have the capability to reconcile. Zhukov's supporters, more than anything, desire at least surface-level improvements in the common people situation. If we can achieve the veneer of progress, we may be able to form a mutually beneficial relationship. Why not? Let's do it! Muscovy's defeated the Bogi Smerty. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Moscow versus the Oba Commandos. Moscow just got eaten, it seems. 2 versus 1, we'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Stretch. Alright.